Alright, YouTube, the self-proclaimed masters of virtue and truth themselves at the New York Times have declared that mass surveillance is a great thing and put a bunch of family-friendly terms on essentially what equates to the violation large scale of the Fourth Amendment. They've done this before, by the way. I find this fact interesting. You remember years ago when Obama, it was revealed, was conducting surveillance on all sorts of mainstream journalists from the corporate press? You remember their outrage at being spied on? Well, the New York Times would rather you not remember that that happened, because now it's happening to the entire population. I mean, it was back then too, but it got revealed, let's face it. The New York Times now thinks, this is their apparent opinion, that it's important that the CIA be able to take over control of any, post-80s era automotive vehicle. They think that it's important that the CIA be able to conduct an attack and blame it on anybody else that they happen to want. And notice, when they talk about these things, because it's unjustifiable, because it's not possible for the New York Times or any other group to actually excuse the behavior of the CIA, especially with regards to the very real possibility that all these programs in raw form, able to be compiled together and used by anybody who happens to have access to them. There's no way they can possibly excuse that material getting loose, and that's apparently what happened. That private firms and other state entities may now have the ability to attack the United States with cyber warfare and face no repercussions because it becomes impossible for our own intelligence community to determine where that attack came from. It could be a group of Ugandan hackers false flagging Russia. It could be a bunch of Russians false flagging North Korea. It could be some group in the Vietnamese Communist Party false flagging a Mexican cartel. You have no idea. Somebody could even make it look as though one intelligence agency attacked another just for fun, and there'd be nothing they could do about it. They couldn't stop the attack, apparently. Or not very easily, and they sure as hell couldn't find out who was doing it. The New York Times can't defend that, because it's indefensible. There's no way that you can possibly justify Obama giving tens of billions of dollars to the CIA, only to see the programs that it built misused domestically and then leaked to the world at large to endanger our own national security. So what does the New York Times instead decide to do? And I'm sure that Washington Post and all these other rags, these fake news groups, will follow suit. What do they decide to do? Oh, it's important that our intelligence agencies be able to conduct surveillance on foreign targets. It's so important. Yeah, but that's not the point. This isn't about foreign surveillance. This is about the CIA creating a bundle of spying software that can crack through encryption on, basically any smartphone you're using. That's increasingly what people use to connect to the internet. People who use laptops like myself, unless they're content creators, it tends to be less and less common. Great for me, not so great for people who are on the go and they're absorbing their news or their videos or whatever. Honestly, that's the smartphone generation that I'm not part of, largely. I can't even operate a smartphone, so I don't have to worry about the CIA crawling in there. I have to worry about them crawling into my Windows operating system or something like that, I guess. It's pretty retarded. They're casting it off. They're trying to create a straw man that they can actually support. The straw man is, oh, well, they're conducting foreign surveillance, they're attacking foreign targets, they need to do this to stop terrorists and keep us safe. It's okay, that's well and good. I have no problem with our intelligence community doing that to foreign targets. See, the problem is they're not just doing it to foreign targets. And the second problem, the big one, that the media, the corporate legacy media, doesn't even want to discuss is the mere fact, if WikiLeaks has these programs, if they're going to give all this code to companies to help them protect themselves because this stuff got loose, then they're doing our nation a solid. WikiLeaks is actually right now defending the United States from foreign hackers. Like it or not, Julian Assange is inarguably the good guy in this. He's helping U.S. corporations that have been compromised by software that is now probably leaked to the world at large. He's going to help them defend themselves against this type of hacking and its derivatives. That is a good thing. It will actually restore national security that apparently, since the CIA lost control of this material, has been completely lacking, and there's nothing that even the intelligence agencies and the US government themselves can do to protect our businesses, to protect the power grid, to protect some nuclear plant, any target that happens to be there that gets attacked, and we can't even determine who's actually doing the attacking. It could be a domestic group, it could be a foreign group, it could be a state or non-state actor, and we wouldn't know. But the New York Times doesn't want you to think about that fact. The New York Times would rather ignore the fact that this stuff got out in the first place, would rather ignore its true intent, and tell you, oh, all they're doing is spying on foreign targets. This sounds exactly like the excuses made by the NSA, by Clapper and others, immediately in the wake of the first round of Snowden revelations. The same character assassination, the Snowden and then, of course, Assange, number one, and the same straw man. The NSA came out when its domestic surveillance program was denoted to exist. It came out and said, yes, we conduct surveillance. You know, we're an intelligence agency, so it makes sense. We are only collecting metadata, and we are only doing so in a tangential manner if it involves a U.S. citizen, because in order to be swept up in that collection, they have to be communicating with a foreign target. The fact that their own data is being collected is coincidental to the fact that they've connected to somebody that happens to be undergoing surveillance, because there's nothing we can do about that. If we're conducting surveillance on Osama over in Afghanistan, and somebody calls Osama, yes, we're going to take down their metadata. They're contacting someone we think is a threat, number one. And number two, there's really no way to avoid taking that data in the first place. And a lot of people gobbled it up. A lot of people said, oh, yeah, we're going to trust the NSA. They're just so trustworthy. Oh, it's wonderful. And the media tells me I shouldn't think too much about this. You know, in defense of Obama, because he told everyone he was going to get rid of these fucking programs. We found out, over the course of the next few months afterwards, we found out it wasn't just metadata, it was everything. It wasn't just people communicating with foreign targets, it was anyone in the United States and indeed the Western world at large. We found out that these programs, I think last year, we found out that they got leaked. Other people were capable of using them, other state actors and non-state actors, groups of hackers, the Chinese, the Russians, whatever it may be, could use it to conduct surveillance on their own populations as well as potentially U.S. targets. We found all this out. We also found out, when it went before Congress, the federal courts, 2 of 3 of them decided, yeah, this is unconstitutional. You're going to need to reform this. But they issued a stay. And they said to McConnell, and they said to Rand Paul, and they said to Ted Cruz, and they said to all these others, you need to do something about this, because this isn't actually lawful to be conducting this mass surveillance. It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. They put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. They said, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we shouldn't have been storing this data in NSA servers. We'll store it in private servers instead. Everything else remains totally intact, but private businesses will have to now absorb the cost of storing all of that user data. Again, still unconstitutional, still retarded, only now you've taken everyone's personal info, put it on servers that may in some cases be less secure and even more open to hacking. And they didn't even tell anybody that those mass surveillance programs had been leaked either. They didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell the companies that they were using their systems to spy on people. They didn't tell them. They didn't tell the users. They didn't even tell Congress. They didn't tell them. It came out online through a bunch of hackers accessed all of these programs to conduct surveillance on other people. That's where we found out about it. Now we're finding out that these programs from Vault 7, that these programs have been leaked too. Isn't that just wonderful? And the New York Times doesn't even have the honesty to tell its readers, yeah, everything that we've ever said and done in the last few years could be utterly and completely compromised because this software was leaked. That is the central issue. Even if you trust, let me say this to people who still trust the New York Times or the CIA. Even if you trust them to have your best interests at hand, if you trust the CIA, you think, oh, they're not actually like spooky dooky spy versus spy. Ultimately, yeah, they're headhunters, they're vicious, but they're going after our enemies, so I don't fucking care. Okay. Let me assume for a moment that I agree that that's always the case, and I'm not sure that I do. Let me just operate from that assumption for a second. Does it not bother you that there is every possibility, in fact, I would say certainty at this point, if WikiLeaks has it, others probably have it too, let's face it. Does it bother you at all that the Russians or the Chinese or any of these other groups in the world would also have that software and be able to conduct surveillance here, conduct attacks while making sure nobody knows that they're conducting attacks, blame it on somebody else? Does that bother you? Does it additionally bother you that U.S. firms that would potentially be targeted by this leaked software were not even told by the CIA that it had been leaked? They weren't told that it existed. That's the problem. You have left every business in the United States open to attack by foreign states and groups that may very well be able to escape any repercussion at all because they can simply hide the fact that they've conducted such an attack. That's the issue. If you trust the CIA, okay, I think that's dumb, but I guess you can make an argument for it. The people at the CIA, at the New York Times apparently love these groups to death. They love mass surveillance. They give it family-friendly terms, stopping terrorism, propping up national security. It doesn't help our national security when this software gets loose into the world. It makes us less secure. It's not even up for debate. You are less secure if your enemies gain the capability of attacking you without repercussion. It's as simple as that. The New York Times doesn't even want to address that side of the issue. They'd rather talk about how great the NSA and the CIA and the FBI and the DHS and all these groups are for conducting surveillance on overseas targets. That's not even primarily what they appear to be doing. Most of it, if you look at the NSA's operations, which group of people do you think is larger? A few thousand or tens of thousands of foreign targets, or hundreds of millions of U.S. citizens plus hundreds of millions of people in Europe and Oceania? I'm going to assume that latter group, I'm assuming that there aren't a billion terrorists in the world. So when they're conducting surveillance on all of these people in all of these states, including our own, that appears to be their general function. Their main function appears to be collecting all data within the United States and putting it on a server somewhere, combing through it automatically to see if there are any red flags. The former head of the NSA has already come out and said the program's useless. Said it can't stop anything. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It doesn't make any sense. We find out, and there are people reporting on this as though it's new news, even though it was, I think, 2014, back when we first heard about this, the fact that NSA agents, and I'm assuming groups from other people from other intelligence agencies, have the ability to spy on their spouses, spy on their girlfriends, spy on people they happen to be stalking, so long as they enter the right code into their software. They called it Love Int. I spoke of this at the time, and it was almost an afterthought. You saw one article, I think, on one corporate media firm, and quickly everyone forgot about it. That was probably the most worrying of all. It's probably still ongoing too. It's not like they're going to stop them. These are people who are tech literate enough to know they can use this software. They're not going to face any repercussions for it. What are they going to do? Fire every NSA agent, have to hire new ones? I don't fucking think so. All the people that they've hired, they can conduct surveillance on their family and friends. Wonderful. Yeah, that doesn't violate anybody's Fourth Amendment right. It's certainly not in violation of anti-harassment or privacy laws. Just ignore these things, says the New York Times. It's a benevolent organization trying to stop our enemies. Okay, that's fine. Stop our enemies. How does it stop our enemies when these same programs inevitably, over time, get leaked to other countries? Are you saying that the CIA... Here's the other part. Let's say the CIA has a solution for this and just doesn't fucking care because it's outdated junk and they've totally replaced it. Seriously, you have to pay them tens of billions of dollars every couple of years in order to make new programs that basically replace the older wave of programs that are now useless. They have to keep redeveloping them over and over and over. Well, I would think it'd be easier to simply keep them in total secrecy, deploy them sparingly, make sure it's on a need-to-know basis that they actually exist, and then keep using those same programs because they already work and not have to redevelop them. That's number one. And number two, if it does get leaked anyway, I would think it would be very, very important to at least privately tell these corporations, yeah, by the way, we developed a program that breaks through all of your encryption, leaves every single user you have. You have 50 million people use your phone. They're all vulnerable. I'm sorry, but now the Chinese can look at what they're doing. You should probably patch this. Here's some code you go ahead and get to work on it here. We'll try to help you any way we can. I would think that would be important. Apparently they didn't do that. That's the point. The New York Times is never going to be honest with its readers. They're too busy headhunting after this Russia crap, this Trump fascism, orange Hitler crap. They're too fixated on that for political reasons. They're not even willing to conduct journalism and tell people the truth about what really happened. They'd rather say Julian Assange, the likely pervert, WikiLeaks, the treasonous, seditious organization, Russia was certainly involved, and by the way, Trump is evil, praise the CIA. The CIA, at the very least, if you assume that these programs were developed, and again, I don't necessarily agree with this, but let's say you assume that they were developed for honest purposes, to destroy our enemies, to block surveillance or incursions from other states, to fuck them over on behalf of our national security. Let's say that that's the case. Does it even matter if you leak it? Yeah. Once it's leaked, it's not helping you, it's helping your enemies. At the very least, the CIA made a huge tactical blunder. They made a major mistake in being too loose with these sorts of programs, and now they've gotten loose. And that's the best case scenario. That's assuming no malevolent intent. That's assuming that nobody has already used this crap to attack us, and they're simply part of a cover-up. You think they would be forthcoming? You think, that power grid failure in this city, or that time that these secrets got stolen by China from a corporation, or maybe all this Trump-Russia stuff. Oh, it's actually part of other states conducting false flags in ours using CIA software. You think the CIA would admit that that happened? Do you think they would endanger the very existence of their organization and put themselves before Congress where they're actually going to get honestly questioned about what the fuck's going on? You think they're going to do that? No. This stuff could already have been employed by foreign states or non-state actors, and they wouldn't even tell us. They certainly didn't tell the business firms they were vulnerable. I think they were sitting on their asses hoping that no attack occurred while they desperately tried to patch the material. In other words, erase tens of billions of dollars of investment by making them useless and having to redevelop them all. And this isn't the first time that it's happened. With the NSA, it's happened. It's happened in all of these agencies. That's not keeping us safer, and the New York Times should be ashamed of itself for not telling its readers the truth about what really actually happened. It's not just about foreign surveillance. These programs involve domestic surveillance and outright hacking that can do real physical, tangible damage, and the programs are probably loose out there in the world, already being used and adapted by other states. We have effectively funded a massive and largely untraceable surveillance program, and without even getting anything in return, have given it to other states in this world, including those that love to commit espionage against us. Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful, New York Times. That's going to keep us safe. That's about all. Peace out.